So speaking of WoW, dare I even guess, as we begin our actual topic of games we played to death, should I even bother asking you if WoW's on that list?
Yes, World of Warcraft is definitely on the list, but I talk about it in every podcast, so I was going to actually keep that one a little bit on the low because that one's just a no-duh for most people that have been listening, so...
True enough.
No, my big game would be Mega Man, and not just any Mega Man, but Mega Man 3.
Uh-huh.
Now, I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but it was one of the ones that I owned growing up. And,
so it's one of the ones you had first.
Right, exactly. I mean, I loved Mega Man so much that my brother and I used to play Mega Man. Like, I would be Mega Man or whatever, and he would be one of the bad robots or a friendly robot or, just something like that. Yeah, but it was Mega Man 3. I played the mess out of that game. I beat that game so many times.
Was it largely because it was one of the earlier ones, or is it still one that you prefer to play over the others?
Mega Man 3 has a distinction of being one of the longer titles, simply because you have to go through the stages again, and they're the same stage, but they're kind of rearranged, so it's lost some of its favor with me because of that, because each time you play through it, you're playing it, it feels like you play it 1.5 times, and it has...
It's kind of like Zelda's Second Quest thing going on.
Right, exactly. And it has more robot boss battles than any other of the classic Mega Man games. I'm pretty sure it does. Because you also have the 8 bots from Mega Man 2, and then you have the 8 bots from Mega Man 3 that you fight first. And then on top of that, you have the Wily Castle bots.
So how about you, Grover?
My game would have to be Final Fantasy VII. I had to play at least 600 hours of that game. I mastered the game. There was nothing really else I could do. Everybody in my team had a Master Magic materia, a Master Summon materia. You could get 2 enemy skill Master materias. You couldn't get more than that. I think the last thing I did before I completely quit the game and I stopped was Ruby Weapon. One of the hardest bosses in the game if you didn't cheat. If you cheated, it was easy. I remember just trying to fight that thing for 2 weeks straight. Just fighting it, getting my ass handed to me, brooding, trying to figure out another way, trying that, getting my ass handed to me. I think I won by just pure luck. And it was at that point that it was just, well, that's it. Everything in this game has been done now.
There's nothing else to do except for just do it again.
Yeah, and just do it again. I don't think I could ever do it again. I can't even stand to look at that game anymore.
So for me, as far as hours is concerned, I'd have to go Minecraft. Because it's been pretty much on my desktop since I got it. Like, I think it's been 2.5 years. Maybe more like 3. I'm trying to remember exactly how long it's been. It's been a long time. It was right around the time that it exploded, and everybody started hearing about it thanks to certain Twitter posts. But
I got mine on August 10th, 2010.
Yeah, I've
So
had
you
it for a
guys
long
bought
time.
it into the alpha, right? And you got the free... Was it free updates?
Free
and the game was
They
super cheap
said
because of it?
free updates, but they still update it for everybody now anyways. That fell
okay.
apart. There was no feasible way to do that without really pissing off players.
No.
That's true.
I've played various versions of the survival. I've played a few adventure maps, not as many as you might expect me to have. And I've put tons upon tons of hours on recreating a fictional island with all its cities and stuff. I've been working on for about 2 years now, and I'm nowhere near finished. And I've been doing it single-handedly, with cheats, mind you. Thankfully, creative mode came along and made a lot of that heck of a lot easier. Well, Minecraft is one of those type of games that doesn't have an ending. Technically it does at the moment if you kill the Ender Dragon and all that. But when it really comes down to it, it's a sim game. It's one of those games that can go on for as long as you want it to go on. And because the game keeps getting bigger and keeps getting updated, I think it's helped keep my attention a little longer than some other games might have. For example, Terraria, I've got about 50 hours on it, I think, but I did it again. Terraria. Sorry, Etna. You can kill me later.
How many hours a day would you say you play Minecraft?
That really varies, because I have these times where I don't touch it for weeks, and then I have times where I'm sure I put a good 4 hours a day in it.
From what me and my friends usually do, play the holy crap out of it. I mean, sometimes I think we all have jobs and stuff. We would play it 10 hours a day, and then we would utterly burn out, and we wouldn't look at the game for like a month. And then some new version would come out, and we're like, hey, let's try this. Let's make a server. And here we go again. Probably a whole another 3 months of us playing almost nonstop. Every single moment we have. And then we'll burn out again, and the process repeats again and again and again.
Pretty much the same with me. If I don't have some goal or focus, then it's hard for me to keep my interest in Minecraft. But thankfully, it's one of those type of games that there's usually always something I can make a goal or purpose for.
And you don't even have to build anything. Sometimes I just go to servers and just look at what other people build. It's mind-blowing what some of these people build. Stuff I just never imagined.
I've seen some YouTube videos. I don't do too much of the actual surfing servers myself, simply because of my internet connection. But anyway, I don't want to stay on any one game for too long, so what you got for us, Mike?
Zelda 2.
Zelda
Adventures
2.
of Link.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I played the crap out of that game. I beat it more than once. I couldn't even tell you why back then I liked it so much. I don't know. I could probably play it today. I mean, it's a game that you don't have... Okay, I'm gonna admit something here. I never beat the original Legend of Zelda.
See, that's funny, because I never beat the second one. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. And I tried. I tried so hard. I played the crap out of that game, and I would get to the end, and Ganon would beat my ass.
No, I was able to beat the second one, and most of it is because when I played through the first one, you didn't have things like the internet to look up where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do. You kind of had to rely on word of mouth from friends or
Nintendo Power.
Yeah, Nintendo Power or their Nintendo hotline, their tip line, which I don't think they do that anymore. But
in Zelda 1, I fondly remember in Dungeon 8 that I got bombs, and I would go to every single area where there was a side, and I would put a bomb there. And I did this until I found the 8th dungeon. And I think I spent a whole week because I just went crazy searching. Yeah, it was just so wonderful when I found it.
The 8th dungeon was, I actually did it out of order, because you don't really have an order that you're supposed to do the dungeons in, unless you get to one where you have to have an item from the previous dungeon. I went through 6 dungeons. I could not find Dungeon 7, so I went and cleared Dungeon 8 as best I could. And that's where I stopped. I never did find Dungeon 7. I don't know anything about Dungeon 7 because of that. But Zelda 2, I beat that game over and over and over again. It wasn't just me. My brother played the crap out of it too. So we both loved Zelda 2.
So about you, Grover? You got another one?
How about SimCity? Let's go to
Oh, yes.
SimCity 3000. Or just do the whole SimCity series right now, because they're all technically the same, just newer and older versions. That game, thousands of hours, at least, for the series. Easily. I'd build a city, I would reach the maximum, I get bored, and I would just torture the Sims and destroy the entire city, and then I'd rebuild. That's all I can really say about that game. It's just you build the infrastructure, you get it looking magnificent, you make your Sims so happy, and then you annihilate them as a disaster.
SimCity and SimCity 2000 are definitely on my list too. I played SimCity 3000 quite a bit. I played SimCity 4 a little bit, and SimCity Societies a little bit. But most of it was the Super Nintendo version of SimCity and the PC version of SimCity 2000. I've already mentioned that was my first PC game in a previous episode. So when I got to play on the PC, that was the game for many, many years between, let me see, that came out in like 93, 92. So between that and when I got my own computer in about 97, 98, that was my PC game. So, there you go. And as for the original SimCity, donuts! The donut build, complete with the railroad. Matter of fact, I'm going to get some video of that. That is the best build. They complain about the roads all day long, but you never have to worry about traffic or pollution from your roads. And the donuts are perfect because you build these little squares, and you put one of your special items in the middle of it, it grows like wildfire. Yes. But, for my turn, I think I'll keep on the same Sim line and mention Sim Ant.
Oh, I love that game.
I love that game.
Now, there's a lot of people that probably are going, what? Sim what? This was a game where you took basically the same concepts of a lot of the Sim games, and you controlled an ant colony. My specifically favorite mode was you took one little single ant colony in the corner of this yard and took over the entire yard and the entire house, and just filled it with ants.
Mm-hmm.
And I put so many hours onto that. And here's the funny thing. I never owned it. I rented it.
Oh,
so
wow.
many times.
Oh, yeah. I was kind of young, so I don't completely remember it very much, but I just remember that I played it a lot. I think I didn't get very far.
I was in the rental category as well. I would, me and my buddy Luke would hang out, play Super Nintendo all the time. And SimAnt was right up there on our list of games to rent, our go-to games. I don't think that he owned it at any point. He may have, and I just don't remember. But I ended up buying it in 2010 because I remember when they were talking about the Senate elections and Congress and stuff. I was just sitting there playing SimAnt. I was like, I don't care what you guys do. I'm just gonna play some SimAnt. So I bought it on eBay. But yeah, I played the crap out of that game, and my favorite mode was the same as yours, taking over the whole yard in the kitchen. I do favor the SNES SimAnt over the PC one by far.
So what else you got for us, Mike?
Well, SimAnt was on my list as well. There's a mess of regular Nintendo games that I played when I was staying over at my relatives, my grandparents. They had a Nintendo, and we would play Nintendo quite a lot. And I think that out of all of the ones, and I'm only going to mention one of the ones that they had, out of all of them, Super Mario Bros. 2 probably saw more play than the other games combined, really. I actually beat Mario Bros. 2 when I was young, so I just played it. I don't know. It was a really weird game. It didn't really feel like any other Mario game, but I loved the crap out of it.
I think I had more hours in it than any other Mario game. And probably any other platformer if I really think about it too much. One of these days I'm going to see if I can get me a copy, even if it's a ROM of Doki Doki Panic, just to see how much it is really different, because I think it is just the sprites. I think that is the only difference.
So, in Japan, their Mario Bros. 2, that was the Lost Levels of All-Stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So how about you, Grover? What else you got?
I will have to go with Super Mario Kart 64. That game, that was the first game I ever got when I got 64 Christmas, and that is a game I can remember every single curve of every single track. I can start playing it now and probably have no problem going back to like I was. I fondly remember going to Ghost mode when you had the memory pack, and just going around the same course and racing my Ghost. Trying to beat the Ghost, just trying to get faster and faster without cheating, of course. There were so many ways to cheat in that game.
Some of the cheats are just shortcuts, and those are perfectly legal.
Well, of course, some of them were just kind of unintended shortcuts that the game developers never imagined that somebody would notice, like the Rainbow Road jumping off and falling over to the other side. Yeah. I clearly remember that the developers, they were just like, whoa, we never thought somebody would try that. I think the multiplayer was what really kept it alive after that, because I remember my family, we got vicious with each other on that multiplayer and us taking out each other.
Mario Kart 64, most of my play of it was through the multiplayer back when I would babysit my nephew and niece. And that was a hit. Matter of fact, most of the Nintendo 64 games that I got, I tried to make sure were 4-player. That was probably the one we played together the most.
Many, many fond memories of Mario Kart 64. My group of high school friends. Hangover, play that, Bomberman 64, and Smash Brothers. But probably Mario Kart more than the other two.
It was just so fantastic for replay.
It really was.
I got nothing to do. Well, let's play some Mario Kart 64.
They took everything that made Mario Kart good and were able to improve upon it.
The only complaint I had about that game is, man, those AIs cheated. They cheated.
Oh yeah,
hardcore.
Like being able to drive so much faster even without the mushroom.
Yeah.
And perfect turning.
Yeah, perfect turning.
How dare you get ahead? If you ever got ahead, even for cheating, they just went into perfect driving at maximum speed.